Hello everyone, welcome back to SCP Explained. I'm your host, and today we'll be taking a look at SCP-2362. But before we do, I want to say thank you to our Discord boosters. Thanks so much for supporting the channel and this series. And a special shout out to today's special thanks member. If you would like to support the channel and appear here, follow the link in the description for more information. So let's begin. SCP-2362 is an extra-dimensional entity currently located within the Kuiper Belt at a distance of approximately 7 billion kilometers from Earth. SCP-2362 was first catalogued in 1985 by Dr. Martin Kessler after it entered the solar system and passed within 15 billion kilometers of Earth. At the time, it was observed to be a structure of unknown composition with a diameter of 1,320 kilometers and displayed no signs of intelligent behavior. The entity was classified as Euclid until January 1997 when automated probes revealed substantial changes. On February 1997, the surface analysis equipment began to operate and the collected data was shocking. Low-frequency vibrations were detected, occurring simultaneously in all directions at precise intervals of 6 hours and 4 minutes. That signal was like a massive contraction occurring at a constant rhythm from somewhere deep inside. It was a phenomenon that could not be explained by simple geological activity. The vibration pattern was more like a biological heartbeat. The reason for this behavior remains unclear, but it led to a reclassification of the entity from Euclid to Keter. To more definitively confirm the identity of 2362, we activated the Icarus' sampling mode. The probe's drill slowly rotated and bored into the surface. And when it penetrated the outer layer and reached a depth of 5.2 centimeters, the first sample was sucked into the collection container. We were waiting for the sample data sent by Icarus, but a completely different signal was received. Icarus had activated its emergency protocol and automatically transmitted its final data and video footage just before being destroyed. On analysis, it was confirmed that SCP-2362 is a non-corporeal, extra-dimensional entity. It possesses the ability to extrude tentacles of unknown composition, which can extend thousands of kilometers beyond the visible boundary of the entity and reach distant parts of the solar system. During its initial detection in 1985, the structure's dimensions were estimated to be approximately 1,320 kilometers in diameter. However, recent observations indicate significant growth, with a current diameter ranging between 1,900 and 2,100 kilometers. This substantial increase in size is attributed to the absorption of celestial bodies along its trajectory. Furthermore, SCP-2362 exhibits a unique behavior pattern. It approaches certain celestial bodies, particularly those similar to Pluto, and injects a portion of its substance into them. Entities injected into other objects seem to remain suspended in a dormant state until SCP-2362 returns. To understand the nature of SCP-2362, we can refer to the reports of researchers from the Planetary Society. The Society sent a message to all amateur astronomers around the world requesting that they observe an object passing nearby. Over 500 responses were received confirming the presence of a large comet in the solar system. The comet had entered the solar system in 1985, then moved to the outermost edge of the Kuiper Belt, where it has remained ever since. It is hypothesized that this comet consists of a core surrounded by tentacles. The core is relatively small, about 1,300 kilometers in diameter, and is composed of a frozen mixture of nitrogen, methane, carbon dioxide, and ammonia. The core is responsible for the observed luminescence. What makes this comet unique is its tentacles. They grow from the surface of the core and extend up to several thousand kilometers in length. These tentacles are highly flexible and can reach a thickness of several kilometers. Their origins are believed to lie deep within the frozen core. The core is covered by a thin layer of ice, and the tentacles emerge from below this layer. Their exact mechanism of movement remains unknown, but they appear to push against the inner part of the core, enabling the entire structure to travel through space. The comet's core is opaque, suggesting a lack of internal hollow spaces. Its frozen surface has a grayish tint with a reddish hue. The comet's presence was initially noted in 1985, but it became more evident in 1998 when amateur astronomers used radio waves to detect its reflection of sunlight. The observed luminescence extends to a radius of approximately 220 kilometers from the core. The surface features a distinctive lattice pattern. As I mentioned earlier, when observing this anomaly, it is crucial to maintain a safe distance of at least 50,000 kilometers. Any closer and the gravitational pull of the core becomes too strong, posing a risk to the spacecraft. During the second and third observations, a significant change was noted. The comet's core had increased in diameter from 1,300 to 1,900 kilometers. This growth seems to have resulted from the core absorbing surrounding celestial bodies. The average rate of growth was approximately 1 meter per day. Additionally, during the third observation, irregular movements were observed in the tentacles, suggesting the presence of lifelike behavior. Notably, one tentacle extended beyond the comet's luminous sphere. At present, the comet's core is estimated to have a diameter of 2,100 kilometers. Exceeding the original size of the structure recorded in 1985, analysis of the collected material reveals that SCP-2362's core rotates with a period of 6 hours and 4 minutes, matching the rotation of the main structure. The data indicates that SCP-2362 is contracting and expanding periodically, causing the tentacles to alternately stretch and shrink by approximately 1,000 kilometers. The average orbital speed of SCP-2362 around the Sun is 25 kilometers per second. However, there are slight variations with an average deviation of 1 kilometer per second, based on its current trajectory. It is estimated that SCP-2362 will reach the boundary of the solar system in approximately 20,000 years. If no celestial bodies are encountered, the structure may continue its journey into interstellar space. Here are the containment procedures for 2362. Observation of SCP-2362 is mandatory. Automated probes are required to constantly monitor its position and trajectory, with manual confirmation of data once every 12 hours. A minimum of 3 probes must maintain visual contact with SCP-2362 at all times. Equipped with the capability to communicate visual data directly to the Research and Observation Center, should a probe lose contact with SCP-2362, immediate replacement is required. A research team consisting of at least 5 personnel must continuously monitor SCP-2362. The team must include experts in astronomy, astrophysics, geology, biology, and psychology. The team leader is responsible for making decisions regarding the deployment of additional probes and testing new equipment and protocols. Regular meetings with the Disaster Strategy Committee are mandatory. Probes carrying nuclear payloads are permitted and necessary to neutralize SCP-2362. Authorization for nuclear strikes on SCP-2362 can only be granted by the Foundation SO5 Council and is contingent upon approval from the UN Security Council. No direct physical contact with SCP-2362 is allowed under any circumstances. Any physical interaction with the entity will result in the termination of the personnel involved without exception. Personnel assigned to observe SCP-2362 must undergo regular psychological evaluations. Psychological assistance must be provided to all personnel involved in the observation of SCP-2362. This assistance is mandatory regardless of whether the personnel perceive it as necessary or not. And finally, here are the incident logs. On January 1997, an automated probe known as Eureka made first contact with SCP-2362. The entity was observed in a state of minimal activity. The rotational speed of its core was estimated to be approximately 7 rotations per minute, leading to a classification of 2362 as a Keter-class anomaly. In February 1997, low-frequency vibrations were detected originating from the core of SCP-2362. Analysis of the data revealed a cyclic change in the entity's behavior with a cycle period of approximately 6 hours and 4 minutes. Due to the cyclical behavior, the observation cycle was adjusted to match the entity's pattern. In March 1997, automated probe Icarus was deployed to gather surface samples from SCP-2362. However, The probe was destroyed during the sampling process, and its final data showed a considerable increase in SCP-2362's size, with the core's diameter expanding to 1,900 kilometers. The core's rotational speed had also increased to 13 rotations per minute. After analyzing the data and video footage from the Icarus probe, it was determined that SCP-2362 was injecting a portion of its tentacles into celestial bodies along its trajectory. The behavior exhibited properties consistent with the reproductive process of a living organism. As a result, the entity was reclassified from Keter to a on April 1997. An automated probe named Hermes successfully sampled SCP-2362-1. The entity's core exhibited minimal changes. No significant rotational speed increase was observed. The data confirmed that SCP-2362-1 was in a dormant state. In July 1997, automated probe Nautilus discovered 3 previously undetected entities along SCP-2362's trajectory. These entities, designated SCP-2362-2, SCP-2362-3, and SCP-2362-4 were located near Neptune and were in a dormant state similar to SCP-2362-1. In August 1998, 2 new entities, SCP-2362-5 and SCP-2362-6, were found. Both entities are located beyond Neptune's orbit and are currently inactive. In August 2006, the International Astronomical Union, at the Foundation's direction, removed Pluto from the solar system. This action was taken due to the discovery that Pluto's mass was smaller than the estimated value based on the gravitational influence on the Kuiper Belt objects. To maintain consistency, it was decided to reclassify Pluto as an anomalous celestial body. On December 2006, automated probe Erudite confirmed that SCP-2362 had approached a celestial body similar to Pluto. Following its characteristic pattern, SCP-2362 injected a portion of its tentacle into the object. The procedure lasted for 36 hours, and afterward, SCP-2362 retracted its tenta.